Welcome in, everybody. It is officially week 2 of the NFL season. We are here to recap week 1, walk through some waiver wire targets, talk about some buy sells, answer your fantasy questions, whether it's start sits, trades. We're here to help you out. Coach, how you doing, my friend?
Man, I'm good. Good, man. How you?
Not too bad. Excited to be here. I know we've got a lot of football to unpack. We've been talking about it throughout the week so far, but it's exciting times. We'll see if you can get any questions here in the chat. So be sure to let us know if any start sit questions you have. Coach, I've got to ask you, what was the biggest thing that stood out to you this week?
Well, I've been a Bears fan. Caleb Williams' performance really hurt me a little bit. I hoped for more. I longed for more. I was really disappointed in the struggle there, just to be point blank honest with you.
You know, and I don't.
But it's not really so much of a fantasy answer, but.
And we can't go too far without talking about the opposite side of that game, Coach, and that's J.J. McCarthy. I mean, way to bounce back.
Yeah, he also was terrible for 3 quarters. He was. Fourth quarter, he played a lot better. He got a lot of short fields too. So I wouldn't be quick to say he's amazing just yet. You know what I mean? He did play well in the fourth quarter when it mattered. So I would be more encouraged if McCarthy was my quarterback right now than I am with Caleb Williams. Just
yeah.
Be honest.
I think there's a lot to still improve on. It was nice to see him bounce back. That's what you want to see. You throw the pick 6. It's really how's this young quarterback going to respond. Comes back there and, in the second half and the fourth quarter mainly really leads the comeback and gets the W. So that's what matters. Coach, we've already got a couple questions, so let's jump to those. If you're here, be sure to hit the like button. Let us know what's going on with your fantasy teams. We're here to help you out. Evening, my friend. What's going on? We appreciate you for tuning in. Alfredo, Coach, he asked Kenneth Walker or Breece Hall this week.
Oh, Breece Hall. Not even close. Breece Hall.
Yeah.
I was a Kenneth Walker hater before. I'm a more Kenneth Walker hater now. I really believe Seattle thinks that Charbonnet's their best back. That's what I think people are glossing over here. I think they believe Charbonnet is their best running back.
Yeah, for me, it's Hall as well. It's a player that I've talked a lot about this offseason of buying in Dynasty and redraft. 19 carries, 107 yards this past week, 4 targets, 2 receptions for 38 yards. I thought he looked really good. There was a ton of plays where he rushed for 9-10 yards a clip. That's what you want to see from Breece. There's a lot of concerns of what would Braylon Allen do if he need into this role. And to be honest, Coach, I think that it's kind of like the Ravens light. I mean, you have Justin Fields back there. They're running a bunch of RPO, a bunch of read option, and it kind of lets Breece Hall get some more opportunities. Certainly, Braylon Allen might run the ball like he did this past week 9 times, but it's worth noting he didn't have a single target. Breece Hall had all the targets out the backfield, and Justin Fields still has a high checkdown rate. So I love Breece Hall going forward.
I'm with you. I still like Breece Hall.
Yeah.
People are acting like he's going to give the backfield over to Braylon Allen. That's just not happening.
No, he's the better player by far, in my opinion. Coach Jared's in here. He says, hey, guys, with the news of James Cook has a hammy issue. If you haven't noticed, everyone, James Cook was on the injury report, limited in practice with a hamstring issue. Who's the better cuff, Davis or Johnson?
If last year is any indication, and even the preseason, to me, it's Ray Davis. I really like Ray Davis. I think Ray Davis is a guy that would start for – I don't know, 5 to 10 NFL teams if he was their lead back. I think he's a really good player. To me, he's the clear cuff.
Yeah, I mean, Ty Johnson, he had 2 targets this past week, 2 attempts for 24 yards. So a little bit of involvement. It's worth noting that the Bills do kind of rotate backs nonstop. So there's a lot to go around there. Ray Davis, he had 1 carry, had a target and a reception as well. I'm with Coach. I think Ray Davis is probably the higher upside play. And if I'm stuck in a situation where I'm having to play the handcuff, I'm going to shoot for the upside of Ray Davis.
There were a couple games last year where, one in particular, really, where James Cook was injured and Ray Davis was his cuff, and he got 20 carries for 97 yards. He was RB14 on the week, caught 3 balls for 55 yards, scored 16.7 fantasy points. So to me, I thought that's more reason to validate Ray Davis.
And not to mention, too, Coach, if we're going to talk about that, you might say, well, was Ray Davis the back out of necessity with Cook being out? Sure, but at the same time, Ty Johnson was available and played in every single game last year. So it's not like Ty Johnson was injured and he didn't get the opportunity. They chose to run with Ray Davis. So I think that speaks volumes. I mean, in those weeks, he had about 30% of the snaps. So I would expect something similar to take place should Cook miss time, but I do think he'll play.
Yeah, I think they like Ty Johnson out of the backfield too. Like, I'm not saying Ty Johnson's useless. I think he has a role. I just don't think they're going to hand him the football a whole lot.
No, I don't either. Jonathan, Coach, he says, "What's up, guys? Travis Hunter, Ridley, or Coleman for PPR, Coach? Which one are you going with?"
Oh man, I'm gonna go Hunter. Like, Hunter had a couple chances at some splash plays this past week for the Jags. I know Matt's loving to hear this. Ridley runs good routes. The dude just drops everything. Like, this past week was brutal for him when it comes to catching the ball. Like, he's still going to get volume because he's still the best wide receiver in Tennessee. He just looked really, really putrid, to be honest, catching the ball. It was bad. I just think Travis Hunter will continue to get better and will have more boom potential.
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally with you, Coach. I think Hunter's probably the play I would go with. He's the highest in my rankings. I do think Ridley's going to be better just simply because he had, a really rough day with the drops. And, he's had that happen throughout his career, but I think better days are ahead. At the same time, Coach, I do think we need to mention Keon Coleman. Do you have any stock in his week 1 performance? I mean, 11 targets, 8 receptions for 112 yards, added a touchdown. I mean, he looked pretty good, all things considered. I mean, he did have that one big play there at the end.
Yeah, I just tend to think that was a weird game. Like, I just don't think – I think the Bills' offense is good. We obviously know that. I just don't know that it's that high-powered. We're just going to keep sustaining numbers like that. I just don't see that happening every week. I mean, Shakir had 6 catches himself on 9 targets. Palmer had 9 targets. They were behind, playing comeback and had to throw the ball a lot, especially down the stretch. And I think that had a significant impact on those totals. So I would expect some serious regression there. Not that Coleman's a good player. Like, I would want him. To me, he's a guy I'd like to flex for my wide receiver 3. But I like the other 2 better.
Yeah, you could do worse. I think Hunter's the better upside play. I think he's going to get the more opportunities. You mentioned it, Coach. The Bills were down for a lot of this game, and at a certain point, it felt like it was absolutely over. So they were having to throw the ball, and Josh Allen did Josh Allen things, and next thing you know, they get the lead. So I think that Hunter's the better play. I think people are going to chase the Coleman points, and he certainly could do it again. But taking on the Jets, I kind of don't think the game script's going to go the same way it did against the Ravens. So I wouldn't bet on that personally. I'd want to see another week of data.
Yep.
All right, well, let's get to our next one, Coach. This pick 2, Evan Ingram, Nick Chubb, and Matthew Golden, Coach. What 2 are you going with? It's half PPR.
Oh, man. Well, I'm going to start with Chubb. Like, to me, I'm taking Chubb. He's the lead back there. I'm going to go with Chubb. The Golden thing, you talk about a mess in Green Bay with wide receivers. Gosh, it really kind of feels like Matthew Golden just added to the Green Bay wide receiver mess. Like, I don't know what you think. Like, it really feels like it's just going to be the guy that happens to catch the touchdown when it comes to that. Like, they're not just going to feed a guy. They're not. Is Golden a good player? Yes, I've had to listen for months for Matt telling me how good Matthew Golden is. But it's clear to me they don't think he's that much better than what they already have. Like, they're all fine players. Jaden Reed, like, I would probably at this point rather have Jaden Reed, to be honest, in that offense. But nonetheless, I think I would go Ingram and Chubb here.
So the one thing here is we do have to monitor the Ingram health. I mean, he logged limited practice. I am assuming he's going to play, but there's been some rumors that he might not play. He only played 34% of the snaps this past week. And in that limited time period, he still had 4 targets. So if he plays, that's the one I'm going to go with. And then I'd follow Coach and I'd go with Nick Chubb as well. I will say Matthew Golden, I went back and watched an entire video of every single route he ran. I think he still looked good, in my opinion. But Like you said, Coach, this Packers offense and LaFleur, they spread the ball around all over the place. So it's going to be tough to predict. He's going to have to earn that role as the wide receiver 1. And I just don't think we're there yet. So I don't think he's a safe play necessarily to start. I mean, if you got multiple flexes or maybe a wide receiver 3, you could do worse, but it's not someone I'm itching to throw in my lineup.
So what do you make of the Christian Watson extension today?
It's interesting. I mean, it's some sort of belief that the team has, right? I mean, in my opinion, I'm not really sure what you could say that he's done to, I don't want to say deserve that, but, lots of injuries, issues on the field too of just, catching the ball. He's had several big drops in his career. Maybe it's just because it's a cheap ad. I don't know, Coach. Do you think there's anything to it?
Not really. I mean, obviously, I think he's a pretty good player, but
yeah,
just to add to my point of it's just kind of a mess. If you go back to Sunday, Dobbs 4 targets, Reed 5 targets, Wicks 2 targets, Kraft 4 targets, Golden 2 targets, Savion Williams 1 target, Musgrave 1 target. Like it's just like, ugh. How do you know?
Yeah, the ball's just being spread all over the place. And the other thing, too, is that was another one of those weird games where the Lions just couldn't do anything and the Packers were just doing everything right for a while, it felt like. But let's carry on, Coach. Let's get to our next one. Nino says just joining, so don't know if we've touched on it. We actually haven't. Well, we did a little bit. But Kenneth Walker, Coach, if you got a trade offer today involving him, have you seen one? I know I saw one earlier. And it was, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Kenneth Walker and Khalil Shakir for Jonathan Taylor. And in that instance, I would take Jonathan Taylor.
Well, yeah, I'm with you there too. But he adds in what that trade is that he got. He got an offer here.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, I see it. I'm stuck here back producing. They want my Jamar Sutton JT for Nico, Brian Thomas Jr., and Kenneth Walker. I'm going to have a really tough time moving that opposite side of Jamar Sutton and JT, so I'm going to hold on that end.
Yeah, not even close for me. Like, do you have any concern over Nico right now?
Not too much. I'm not going to put a bunch of fear out there for Nico. I think Nico's a fantastic player. The biggest issue for me is this Texans team. They moved on from a lot of these offensive linemen, and they completely rebuilt it. And frankly, they played awful last week. They were really, really bad. Is part of that the matchup? Maybe. But at the same time, the Stroud regression is real, don't you think, Coach? I mean, there's at least something to be said of he's not the same player from year one.
Yeah, it just doesn't look the same. He's missing basic line checks and stuff that it feels like there's real regression there. Like basic plays that he should make that he's not making, just simple line checks that it just baffles my mind a little bit.
Yeah, I'm totally with you, Coach. I think there's some concern, but I think Nico's a good enough player where he's going to be fine going forward. I'll pull up his box score real quick just because I don't have it in front of me. But looking at the game, 5 targets, 3 receptions, 25 yards. Again, the Rams, we could talk about how that was a tough matchup. That defensive line is pretty good, and I think a lot of people overlook that. They're just a young defense. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they're Pete's number 2 defense on the week this week. So that needs to be mentioned. Taking on Tampa Bay, I think it's a better matchup for Nico. So I think he's going to be fine going forward. But just a tough start to the year.
Yeah, no doubt. I want to mention, too, before Matt moves forward, these questions are piling up. If you got a super chat and you want to jump the line, you can do super chat us and pass these guys. These questions are starting to pile in here, so it could be a while.
Yeah, but we will carry on. So we appreciate everyone here. Also, if you haven't, go check out our free Discord. There's all sorts of stuff in there. The link's in the description. We Be Wrestling says, which one should be my flex? Ricky Pearsall, DK Metcalf, or Calvin Ridley? Coach, this is a tough one. Ricky Pearsall is a guy you've been really high on throughout the year. Played fantastic week 1. We'll have to see what happens with Brock Purdy. Again, I hate to assume he's going to play, but in my opinion, I think he will play. George Kittle goes on to IR, so I just think that creates more room for Pearsall. So if Purdy's healthy, I'm absolutely going to go with Ricky Pearsall. DK Metcalf played better. We've talked about Calvin Ridley, the drops there. Coach, do you disagree on Ricky Pearsall? Would you go another way?
No, I'm going Pearsall, especially with the Kittle being down. I think Pearsall's targets go up even higher.
Yeah. And just to mention DK.
To me, it's Pearsall, DK, Calvin in that order.
I think I would go DK Calvin, or excuse me, I'd go Pearsall, Calvin, DK. But if I pull up my rankings, I have Calvin at 25, DK at 26. So we're really splitting hairs, to be honest. There's not too much difference there. But I think we need to stop and talk about it just for a second, Coach. I mean, the Aaron Rodgers resurgence, that was interesting, right?
Well, that entire game was interesting. Who would have picked that game to be the second highest scoring game of the weekend? The Jets
Yeah.
and the Steelers. Like, I do tend to think that's an outlier game myself. I wouldn't expect those two offenses to continue doing that. I could be wrong, but it just kind of feels that way. Sometimes it's supposed to be a defensive battle and it turns out to be a shootout. Those kind of weird things happen from time to time. So,
Payday Coach says, "How we doing? We're doing all right, Payday. We appreciate you being here. Let's jump
it's
to
payday, fool.
Yeah, it's Payday Fool. So let's get to his question. We'll come back to you, Kendall. So don't leave us. I don't need to start any guys, but I'm thinking value for long term in my dynasty. Got offered Caleb Johnson and Demario Douglas for Calvin Austin in a third. Ooh, I mean, if you're getting Caleb Johnson and Demario Douglas for Calvin in a third, I would absolutely do that. I don't really care too much about Calvin Austin. I know there's a lot of hype around him. He hasn't really done much so far in his career. The third, I know Coach is obsessed with a third-round pick, so that's going to be tough for him to part. But if you're a coach or you're someone that listens to our dynasty leagues, we're always talking about how we buy the third. So maybe you've got multiple third-round picks that you can use. Demario Douglas, I think, is serviceable. We'll see what happens with this Patriots wide receiver room going forward. But Caleb Johnson is the mystery box. I mean, he's got the capital. It's not there right now, but I think eventually he's going to get at least some opportunity to have a run. Don't you think, Coach?
Yeah, probably. I'm going to close my eyes and take Caleb and Pop and not feel great about it necessarily, just being honest. But I like the third. You just mentioned that. I love all that. But, yeah, I would go Douglas and Johnson.
Yeah. Tight end question for you, Coach. Brenton Strange or Dalton Kincaid at tight end, half PPR. This question seems so fitting given the fact you've been very, very high on Brenton Strange since the moment the Jags moved on from Evan Ingram, and you've been notoriously low on Dalton Kincaid since he really went to the Bills.
Yeah. I'm just looking at their matchup. Like we're just talking about this week. The Bengal defense looked a little better. Now, granted, they were playing the Browns, but they still played better than I anticipated they would play. And then the Bills get the Jets, and the Jets played worse defensively than I thought they would play. So it's an interesting matchup. I'm going to go with Strange against the Bengals, personally.
Yeah, I'm going to roll with Strange too. I mean, both of these guys each had 4 targets. Strange had 59 yards on 4 catches. Kincaid had 48 yards on 4 catches. He did get the touchdown. The Jacksonville game was kind of weird, Coach. They had a really, really long delay that kind of changed the momentum of the game and slowed it down. Carolina played really, really poorly, so it was over early. I like Brenton Strange in a tougher game where if things go wrong and Cincinnati offense is humming against this Jacksonville defense, they're going to have to throw the ball, and Strange is going to be a part of that.
Yep, I totally agree. I'm a big Strange guy.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's move on. We appreciate the question, Kendall. So we'll continue there. Greg, how's it going, my friend? Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you for being here. Scott, from a good fan from ours, he's in the Discord, Coach, all the time. He says PPR start 2, Alvin Kamara, Tony Pollard, Mason, and Travion Henderson. We're picking 2 from this group, Coach, and I'm going to go with Alvin Kamara and Tony Pollard and Travion Henderson. I have back-to-back, I believe, in my rankings. Let me check really quick. I think I'm going to lean Tony Pollard. I do have him back-to-back. I'm going to lean Tony Pollard. He takes on the Rams. It's a tough matchup. He took on the Broncos last week, had 90 yards, caught a couple balls. If he falls in the end zone, he's going to be a great play for you. So I like Tony Pollard.
Yeah, I'm a Kamara Pollard guy here too myself. A couple things I want to note. I think people are a little high on Jordan Mason, mostly because he's not getting any usage outside of the backfield really. And I think Travion Henderson, while I love him for Dynasty, I love him long term. He did not look great in week 1. I just not think he looked very good. Not as good as I had anticipated. I was all about Travion Henderson 2 weeks ago, and in week 1 it made me go, let me give it just a second. So I'm Kamara and Pollard.
Henderson does get the opportunity to play the Miami Dolphins, who Coach, We haven't talked about it yet. They looked terrible last week. There's no way around that. That team was really, really bad. So if he can, get an opportunity to play, fall in the end zone, I think he's going to have a good day too. So I wouldn't fault you if you went Henderson over Pollard, but I think Pollard is the safer play. So, if you're projected to win, pretty big, maybe go with Pollard. He's a nice safe floor for you. Because like I said, last week he had a tough matchup and he still had 90 yards. So it's tough to really fault someone for playing Pollard, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, you were talking about the Dolphins, and they were bad. I just saw a minute ago, we got a notification that Tyreek Hill's that has some allegations of domestic violence again. We just got that notification literally 10 minutes ago, and the Dolphins said they're working with a league through that. Not good news there, but I do think that offense is better than it played the other day. Tua is a little better than he played the other day. I expect that to stabilize a little bit. While I don't think they're good, they're going to play better than they played against the Colts.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, you really can't be much worse than they were, to be honest.
Right.
But, and I said in my running back video, Coach, that in my opinion, I think the A-Chain might be the only startable Dolphin at this moment. I'm avoiding Tyreek Hill, especially now even more. I'm avoiding Jalen Waddle if I can. Tua, I don't want to play, especially in any redraft or anything like that. I think there's better plays on the waiver or, something.
Hey, who would you start this week, Tua or Cam Ward?
Cam Ward. I finished my QB rankings before we came on here, and I would confidently say Cam Ward. I have Tua at 27, and I have Cam Ward at 24, I think 23. I just moved off of it. I'm sorry. But let's jump to our next question, Coach Baller. He says, Keenan Allen or George Pickens this week? Obviously, George Pickens had not a great start to the week one game, Coach, with his new team there in Dallas. But at the same time, Keenan Allen kind of looked a little bit like his old self. He had 10 targets with 7 catches for 68 yards and a touchdown. Coach, who would you start between this duo?
Keenan Allen's going to demand volume. That's just the kind of guy that he is. Obviously, there is some rapport there with Herbert. Herbert's going to throw in the ball. Raiders defense is, I guess you could say, mid at best. The Cowboys have the Giants. The Giants defense is good. They made the Commanders work for everything they got on Sunday. And George Pickens did not look great. I'm just staying away from George Pickens right now. I go Keenan Allen.
Yeah, I really hate to say it. I don't want to say Keenan Allen, but I think I'm going to say Keenan Allen. I mean, the Raiders team played better than I think I expected personally, especially on defense. I mean, it's taking on the Patriots, so how much does that factor in? Maybe a little bit, but at the same time, taking on the Giants, like you said, with George Pickens, they were tough. They were stingy. I mean, Terry McLaurin had to earn it. Debo had to get some end arounds to really get some of those points. But I think I'm going to go with Keenan Allen. The 10 targets was something I really like to see, and maybe the Raiders keep it a little closer than we all expect. But Pete says it's a packed house in here. We do have 23 people watching here on YouTube. We've got a bunch of people on X. If you're on X, pop over to YouTube. Be sure to jump in here. We can get to some comments quicker on this side. We will get to your comments on X if you are on here. We appreciate everyone that's watching. Be sure to hit that like button. We Be Wrestling Coach says Ballers needs to go with Pickens. So maybe Pickens is the play. I mean, 4 targets last week.
I don't know about easy.
Yeah, it's a tough pick. I mean, I was someone that
smells of a Cowboys fan, right? We Be Wrestling. Are you a Boys fan? It's okay if you are. I get it.
He might be a Cowboys fan. Let us know. We're curious. Scott says hit the like button. Scott's absolutely right. You need to smash the like button. It helps us out a ton. So we really appreciate everyone's help here. Coach comes back to what we answered his question already. He says might even counter with him and go with Sutton and JT for BTJ and Brees, or Kenneth Walker. I don't know yet. Well, let's pause right there, Coach. Let's talk about that. Would you rather have Sutton and JT or Brees and Brian Thomas?
That's a tough one. It really is. I think I would go Brian Thomas and Brees.
I would too. If you could sub in Kenneth Walker and Brian Thomas for Sutton and JT, would you be more inclined to do Sutton and JT?
Yep, I'd rather have Sutton and JT. Kenneth Walker, I am scared of currently.
Yeah, I think I'm the same. If you got that deal, I would be interested in Sutton and JT. But I'd keep Brees and Brian Thomas. A lot of people are panicking about Brian Thomas simply because he didn't have the great receiving stats. He did score, but it was a backfield carry he got on an end around. But I'm not too worried about it. I mean, he had a couple misses with Trevor Lawrence, but again, that game was weird. He still had plenty of involvement. He was open. He looked good. So don't panic if you're really there on Brian Thomas Jr. If you got him on your roster, I think he's going to be fine going forward. But Coach, we have another Kenneth Walker question, and is he really done? So, Coach, you've got the stand here, so why don't you let us know kind of what your thoughts are on Kenneth Walker, why you're kind of feeling the way you're feeling, and what we should be doing if we do have him on our rosters.
Well, first of all, is he really done? No. No, he's not really done. But is he not going to be the guy you hoped he would be right now? Yeah, I don't think that's the case anymore. Like, I really think at minimum, they're clearly sharing usage between him and Charbonnet. Charbonnet at one point early in the game had 7 carries to Kenneth Walker's 2. Like, it was just screaming that Charbonnet is the better player, or they think Charbonnet is the better player is a better way to put it. Did Kenneth Walker have some bounce back? Yes. I just think a lot of it still people are holding on to the name from 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And they can't give it up. Matt being one of those guys. But yeah, I think the Kenneth Walker we all hoped would be there is just not there anymore.
Yeah, I mean, when we look at the box score from the game, Coach, Kenneth Walker, 10 attempts for 20 yards. Not great. Added 3 targets for 3 receptions for 4 yards. So just a really tough outing for him. Whereas Charbonnet had 12 attempts for 47 yards, and he did find his way in the end zone. I think it's worth noting Charbs didn't have any work out of the backfield. So I think Kenneth Walker still kind of has some play there. While he didn't really do that in college, I think he's still just fine at it in the NFL. But the big thing that sticks out to me, Coach, is Charbs had 58% of the snaps, and Kenneth Walker had only 40% of the snaps. So Walker was not on the field as much, and that matters. I mean, the price that you paid for Kenneth Walker currently is just not there. I think it's a real issue. He certainly had the injury earlier in his career, and maybe that pops up again. I mean, he was limited going out throughout the training camp and the off-season period, and now we get into the season and he's not even playing half the snaps. So that matters in my opinion, and it kind of is frustrating, especially if you're someone that had an early draft where the coaching staff was saying he's fine, and apparently he's not. I mean, he hasn't looked the same. He's a guy that last year had the 8th most forced missed tackles out of all running backs, and he missed 5 games. So it's really frustrating if you're a Walker manager.
Yeah, not only that, like I'm not real sure I'd even be starting him at all this week, to be honest. Maybe a flex play, but that's where we're at right now with Kenneth Walker, just to be frank with you.
Yeah, I mean it's concerning, like you said. It's something that I'm not excited to throw in my lineup. It's really tough. Like when I was doing the running back rankings of where do you put him? Like how high do you go? I mean, I don't feel great putting him at 24. I don't feel great putting him at 30.
No, I agree. I'm with you completely.
Coach Peter Terranova here says Davante Adams was wide receiver 1 and average separation score in week 1, minimum 25 plus routes run per fantasy points data. Do you make anything of that? Do you have anything to add about Davante Adams?
I think Davante Adams is a really nice wide receiver 2 for the Los Angeles Rams. That's what I think. Like, I think sometimes my boy Pete here can't give up the Davante Adams thing. Puka Nacua is clearly the guy there. Like, there's just no way around it. Every time it matters, he gets the ball. His numbers, again, through the roof for Puka. Like, to me, he's the guy. Like, McVay thinks Puka's the guy. Davante Adams is going to be there. He's going to help them win games, so I'm all about that. He's still a solid wide receiver, but he's just their second best wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, Coach, 11 targets, 10 receptions, 130 yards. Like, Puka is just – he's a monster, man. Like, he is so good. And, you mentioned Adams, 8 targets, 4 receptions, 51 yards. He's going to be involved. He's going to have plenty of opportunity, but he's always going to be second fiddle in this offense.
Now, Puka will step out in front of a Mack truck at some point and miss a couple games. Like, that's coming. Davante season will be back. Because Puka's just one tough guy, man. I'm telling you, I don't know that there's anybody in the league I enjoy watching more than Puka and the way he plays the game of football. So
he's a great football player, man. He is fun to watch. Uncle Piff Zach's in here. We appreciate you for being here, Zach. As always, Albert's here as well. Coach, he says, "What's going on? What's up, fellas?" Albert, we are happy to have you. Let's get to our next one. Dak or May this week? Point per carry league, Coach. So keep that in mind. I think May is someone that I had a little bit higher this past week. That didn't necessarily perform. Dak played fantastic, but the fantasy points just didn't really line up. And it could have been a monster week for him if he had some completions, especially that one to Ferguson in the end zone. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb had the drops. For me, I have Dak higher in my rankings. He gets to take on the Giants, like we've talked about. Stingy defense, but they're going to throw the ball. There's going to be plenty of opportunities for him to move the ball down the field. Drake May taking on the Miami Dolphins. Who knows what that team's going to do, if they're going to bounce back at all. But I like the upside of Dak. I think he's got the ability to finish top 5. I don't think May has that ability.
Yeah, and I think this is a really important week for Dak against the Giants. And like you said, we've said this Giants front 7 is really good. But this feels like a big game for Dallas, actually, like a game they really need to win. May gets the Dolphins, that helps, but I just think Dak's a far better player currently. Dak here.
Coach, you mentioned it's a big game for him. Yeah, they could start out 0-2, but not just 0-2, 0-2 in the division. That's 2 of their 6 games in the division that would already be gone. That's really, really important, especially given the fact that the East is competitive with Washington and Philly. So that absolutely matters, and I think that it's a must-win for him. And I hate to say it that way, but they need it.
Yep.
But Coach Niori was offered Travis Etienne and Tucker Kraft for Tyler Johnson and RJ Harvey. Should I buy
Tyler Warren?
What did I say? Jalen Warren?
Johnson. Tyler Johnson.
Okay. I don't know who Tyler Johnson is. Let's not talk about that. Travis Etienne and Tucker Kraft for Tyler Warren and RJ Harvey. Should I buy the Etienne high, Coach?
I would go yes. Now, I do think Tyler Warren's numbers at the end of the year are going to be higher than Tucker Kraft's. Personally, I think that's true. Mm-hmm. I like ETN better than Harvey. If this is Dynasty by any chance, then I'm holding Warren and Harvey all day.
Yeah, for sure.
Personally. Redraft this season, I would take the ETN Tucker Kraft side.
I mean, if it's any type of tight end premium league, I'm probably going to stick with Warren. 9 targets, 7 catches, 76 yards. He was really involved. I think there's a good chance Tyler Warren finishes as a top 5 tight end. Like, that could absolutely happen. The longer Daniel Jones plays, the more that's going to help Tyler Warren. Richardson could come in. He certainly could run the ball, but I don't think he's as prolific as a passer as Daniel Jones. And I know that's not necessarily a high bar, but it matters. It matters.
Did you just call Daniel Jones a prolific passer?
In regards to Anthony Richardson, 100%. And I think you would agree with me. But at the same time, Coach, I'm with you of if this is redraft, if there's not any type of tight end premium and I need a running back, I would take ETN. You could do worse than Tucker Kraft. I mean, I think Kraft is a good player. He's someone that Pete and I have talked a couple times on airs about. And, he had 4 targets, only 2 receptions for 14 yards, but he caught a touchdown. And he did that plenty of times. Last year he had 8 touchdowns. So
he also plays for the Packers, though. So there's that. It's just a mess sometimes.
It is a mess sometimes. That's totally true.
He's a good player, but it's just a mess sometimes.
There's tons of questions here in the chat. So, guys, we will continue to try and answer those. We'll pick up the pace a little bit. But if you want to jump the line, like Coach said, throw in a super chat, and we will jump straight to your question. We appreciate everyone who's here. So if you can like the stream, we would greatly appreciate that. We've got 35 watched on YouTube, more on X, and we can continue on, Coach, with Two Mean Fuzz says, I traded Ladd for Kenneth Walker. Ladd and Kenneth Walker for Amon-Ra. Did I mess up? No, I don't think so. I mean, I would be okay with Amon-Ra. I mean, as long as you have the running back depth, and that's kind of scary given the fact that, Kenneth Walker might turn into something, or he could be a complete dud and a draft bust.
Yeah, I'd rather have Amon-Ra. I do like Ladd. We both like Ladd, but I'd be fine with this. I wouldn't say it's a mess up. I feel fine with this.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends a lot about your team's depth, but grand scheme of things, I don't think it's going to tank your year. I mean, if you told me we're pairing up, Amon-Ra with, Derrick Henry, and trying to think of someone else you might have drafted. I don't know. Just I think that this trade can absolutely work out in your favor. So don't fuss too much about that. Lewis Coach says Coleman, Davante Smith, or Terry McLaurin this week. I have Lamb and Keenan Allen starting.
I'm just checking who they're playing this week. Obviously, a tough one with the Commanders with the Packers. Eagles had who? The Eagles have? I'm blanking on.
The Eagles are taking on Kansas City,
Chiefs.
so there's a chance that could be a little bit of a shootout. I do think the passing game for Philly is going to improve. AJ Brown didn't really do anything until the end of the game with the one catch. Davante Smith had, I think, a couple catches for just a few yards. I think this is tough, Coach, but I think I would go with Davante Smith just slightly over. No, I'm going to go with Terry McLaurin. Actually, I'm going to go with Terry McLaurin. I think that's the best play. I think Terry is someone who's going to continue to be involved in this offense. And
is Terry now the wide receiver too in Washington?
No.
I know Debo Terry. Didn't Debo got like 11 targets, right?
Yeah, I'll vet it real quick. Debo had 10 targets, 7 receptions for 77 yards. Obviously, he got the touchdown on the I think it was technically a rush, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was.
Terry had 2 catches for 27 yards on 4 targets. It's worth noting he just missed a deep bomb touchdown with Jaden by a yard. When we'd be talking about a very different day for Terry McLaurin, it would be 3 catches for 100 yards and a touchdown. So I'm not worried about Terry. I think he's going to continue to get better. Taking on Green Bay, if Green Bay does what they did last week, where they look pretty good and kind of move the ball around, this offense is going to have to score more points. So I like Terry McLaurin here.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Davante Smith. I'm going Davante Smith here.
Okay.
It is worth noting too that we talked about this preseason about how there would be a little bit of Terry McLaurin regression coming off of last year, and how we thought Debo was not going high enough. So
totally true. Debo was in our
early, but it seems to be the trend, right?
Yeah, and Debo was one of our buy players right before the season started. We were talking about how his ADP was too low, and he's someone who's going to be more involved than a lot of people thought. I mean, 10 targets, that's a fantastic week for any player. So, especially a guy in a Washington offense. So, but I'm biased.
Yeah. You are.
Coach Kyle asked, should I trade Pickens up for AJ Brown? I mean, I would do it if you could manage the package. I don't know what you're going to attach to it. What do you think, Coach?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Again, it comes, what are you willing to give up with Pickens? But yeah, I mean, yes.
Yeah, he
says
better. He's trying to convince the AJ owner. I mean, now's the time. If you're going to use week 1 with what happened and try and convince someone to overreact, by all means do it. Go in there and mediate that trade is what we would say. Coach Rex asked us, Chad, rest of season, Tillman or Harold Fannin Jr.?
No, this is a tough one. This is really tough. This hurts me to say. I hope Pete's not listening. I'm going to take Tillman.
Ooh. I mean, I'm curious, Coach. I don't have Tillman's box score, so let me pull it up really quick. He had 8 targets, 5 receptions for 52 yards, added a touchdown. Harold Fannin, Coach, it was nice to see. 9 targets, 7 receptions, 63 yards, 72% of the snaps. He was on the field a ton. They moved him all over the place.
Harold Fannin was basically, I mean, like he was playing wide receiver, you know.
Mm-hmm.
This is a guy Matt really, really loved in draft time. He was a big Harold Fannin guy. I just tend to think that's going to come down a little bit for Fannin, a little bit. He was one of my top waiver wire ads for this week. Like I do think people should be adding Fannin based on cost. You know, it depends on how much I'm going to have to pay to get him. But I would totally be adding him. Waiver wires, I'll go see if he's available and put a claim in on him. But I just think Tillman over the long haul is probably the Browns' best wide receiver.
I think you're right long term, especially given just the full PPR nature and Tillman being the wide receiver. It's worth noting David Njoku, 6 targets, 3 catches, 37 yards. He's going to be better than that. He's a solid player. He's really good. You know, Harold Fannin, you mentioned, Coach, they were using him as a wide receiver. He's a smaller tight end. He's going to play H-back. He's going to be all over the place. 72% of the snaps. I could see that going down throughout the year, kind of just depending on what the game script looks like too. I mean, if they're down and they're losing, yeah, he's going to be a good guy to throw out there just because he's a matchup nightmare. He's quick. He's athletic. He's a big body frame that you can use, and I think Flacco will do that. If for some reason they are a stingy defense and they can keep it a low-scoring game, they'll run the ball, especially with Judkins coming back. It could make this murkier too.
Yep, 100%. And who knows what's going on there? Look, they were facing a terrible Bengals defense too, and the offense still struggled. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't be going out and just scooping up Browns everywhere.
Yeah. Coach, I got another tough one here. Terry McLaurin for James Conner. Which side you taking?
Yeah, this hurts me a little bit. James Conner, just because I've been a James Conner guy, and it does look to be starting to become a committee in Arizona. That seemed pretty clear Sunday. I think I'd take Terry McLaurin. Ooh, that's a tough one. I'll take Terry McLaurin.
I mean, I think a lot of this depends upon the makeup of your team. If Terry McLaurin is your wide receiver 3, I'm not really loving that. If Terry McLaurin is your wide receiver 4 or 5 and you need a running back, I'm okay with it. I'd take James Conner. If you need James Conner and he's your RB2, I'm not moving him. If James Conner is your RB3 or RB4, I would entertain it. But I think a lot of it just comes down to what your team looks like. The Saints were terrible last week. Somehow it looked a little closer than it really was. The Cardinals are the Cardinals, but Coach, you mentioned that it's turning it a little bit into a timeshare, which breaks my heart because I've not been a Trey Benson believer, but he did have one big play with, on a 50-yard rush. So maybe he gets worked into the lineup a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, James Conner's steady. He does have a history of injury, so there's that too. But yeah, I'm still McLaurin here, I believe.
Coach, I missed this part for Rex's question on the Tillman or Fannin. He says, for context, Loveland is my other tight end, playing drop 1 for Drake May as my QB2 for Lamar. Does that change your thought process?
No, not really. I mean, I do like Loveland a lot, but I don't like Caleb Williams a lot, so that's concerning there.
Says the scarred Bears fan there. He's not loving what happened. The other.
I'm just calling based on what I saw. Like you can say what you want to. Like I'm not the guy that just says my guys are amazing. Like Caleb Williams looked really bad, and I'll call it like I see it.
And to Coach's credit, we talk all the time. I get the benefit and the curse of getting that. But at the same time, you did mention that Caleb Williams looked bad while they were winning. While they had the double-digit lead, you said Caleb Williams is not playing well, and it's kind of being a little bit hidden.
Yeah, I even said the first drive was a little concerning to me. Like he was holding the ball forever and running around scrambling, or he'd hold, and check it down. This is before we could see the all-22. And I'm thinking, well, either these guys are not getting open at all, right, or he just doesn't see it. Like he's not seeing it at all and just dumping it off. And it's like Justin Fields all over again.
Yeah, well. We'll see what happens, Coach. Maybe there's better days ahead. All right, Mark asks, PPR start 4. Mark Andrews, Jake Ferguson, Tony Pollard, Swift, or Kayshon Boutte? I think, Coach, I'm going to go Andrews, Pollard, Swift. Oh, man. Do you start Kayshon?
What do you think about Boutte?
I think it's really interesting to me. Boutte is one of those guys that he had all the draft type in the world. He was at one point in time a projected first-round wide receiver, comes into the NFL, and he was a borderline cut. He had 8 targets, 6 catches, 103 yards. Like you said, Coach, he looked good. But if we go back to last year, week 16, 18 points. Week 18, 21 points. So he's kind of stringing some things together. And I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I might start him over Jake Ferguson. I think I would do that. I mean, the opportunity there, 8 targets. I don't think you can look past that.
Yeah, I agree. I would sit Ferguson in this, but I got to say, Swift also was bad. He was as bad as Caleb Williams. So there's concern there too for me. But right now, there's literally no one else in the building, so
The
we're still gonna
benefit,
play the starting running back.
yeah, the benefit for Swift is simply he's the only guy there. Like you said, he's the one in the building. Coach, are you concerned, or would you change your thoughts at all with Mark Andrews and Ferguson between those two?
Uh,
I mean, Ferguson
yeah, I
one
mean
target.
Ferguson got.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, what were you just saying?
Well, I was just going to say Andrews had only the one target this past week, and again, it was a weird game, but at the same
Yeah,
time, we saw this happen last year with Andrews, and he finished the year fine.
right. And Ferguson got some opportunities in the end zone too,
Mm-hmm.
and I still think Dak likes Ferguson, so there's that. But it's really a coin flip between those two. Honestly, I just had a gut feeling says Andrews.
Yeah, I'm with you there. It's gut feeling too. Andrews would be the play for me. I think it's the higher upside. Ferguson is going to have maybe the higher floor. I mean, this past week, 6 targets, 5 receptions, 23 yards. So half PPR,
Yeah.
he scored 4.5 points or 4.8 points. So not really helping you a ton. You're just praying for the touchdown. And to Coach's credit, he had the touchdown targets. He had 2 of them, or the end zone targets, and he had 2. So he didn't come down with it. He had the one drop. Then the late hit or the whatever. But I think that Andrews is the better play in my opinion. But Chris says, yo, fellas, what's going on, Chris? We appreciate you being here as always. Coach, we got to talk about this for a second. Isaac Tesla, man. How do we not look past this? What a catch that was in the end zone. That's a dynasty darling, someone we talked about in the offseason. We had a clip we threw up from back in March, maybe, coaches, when we were first talking about Isaac Tesla and his opportunity. What a play. And Dan Campbell says this kid's going to earn some more time. We got to get him involved.
Yes, thank you. We've been saying that. We've been saying this for months. Yeah, the dude can play. He did not get as much run or opportunity as I hoped he would Sunday, but I just think that's going to increase. I actually think Ollie Gordon's a decent player, but I think A-Chain's really good myself. So
the problem is he's the guy in the backfield. I mean, that offense is going to go as A-Chain goes. He is everything. And I'll say it again, to me, he's the only startable Dolphin. But Coach, we've got a wide receiver 2 question. George Pickens taking on the Giants, Calvin Ridley taking on the Rams, or Kayshon Boutte taking on the Dolphins. It is a half PPR league. Which one you rolling with here?
I love a lot of Pickens questions.
Mm-hmm.
But here, I'm going to go Ridley, Boutte, Pickens in that order.
That would be my exact same order. So I hate to be boring, but that's how I'm going to go with too. So great call, Coach. I'm sure we'll be wrong, and it'll be Boutte, Pickens, Ridley.
I mean, it could be. Oh, right, it could be. No, Pickens did not look great the other day.
Yeah. Ollie and Pickens for AJ is perfect if you need the wide receiver 2 upgrade and can spare a light overspend. I mean, Coach, I got to ask you, if you got offered Ollie and Pickens, would you entertain it if you're the AJ Brown manager?
Not really. I'd rather just hold AJ Brown.
I would too. I don't think I would do that. I think you're going to have to pay more than Ollie Gordon. I mean, that's a handcuff at best. Maybe something happens to A-Chain and he gets some role, but I could see him kind of still splitting a workload if something were to happen there.
Yeah, I don't see that as an overspend personally.
Yeah. Coach, our good friend Trone Force is back. As always, we appreciate you for being
here.
He
is.
Trone. Need 2 wide receivers in a flex this week. He's got a full PPR league. Tyreek Hill, Terry McLaurin, DK Metcalf, Hunter Henry. I'm assuming that's Travis Hunter, not Hunter Henry. Cooper Kupp, Jalen Warren, Ja'Cory, Bill, Krosky, Merritt, and Austin Eckler. So we're picking 2 wide receivers and a flex, Coach. I'm going to go with Hunter and Terry McLaurin, and then in my flex, I have Ja'Cory higher than Jalen Warren by 1 spot. So my heart wants to say Ja'Cory.
Yeah, I hate to say this. I'm going to agree completely. That's exactly what I do.
Wow.
It is McLaurin, Hunter, Bill.
I would have totally expected you to go Jalen Warren over Bill.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm a little bit enamored by Bill too, just to be honest. After watching him play the other day, like there's a lot of bursts there, and it feels like he's going to be the guy.
Yeah, he looked really good in my opinion. But again, I'm biased. Let's get to our next one, Coach. Tron is actually, he's got the next question too. So someone sent me a trade offer: Derrick Henry and Davante Adams for Christian McCaffrey and DK. I was going to counter with CMC and Cup. Would you do this trade? I mean, I think I'm going to go Derrick Henry and Davante Adams. And if you could change DK to Cup, that's even better in your favor, right?
Yeah, I think so. I'm going back. Like, I've read a lot today about everyone thinking like CMC looked washed. He only had 69 yards on his 22 carries, but he caught 9 balls for 73 yards. Like, I mean, he's far and away the dude there, and they're going to get him the ball repeatedly. Obviously, Derrick Henry is really good. We know that. I'm going to take the McCaffrey side, the healthy McCaffrey side. Give me that side.
Okay. And you know, I think that I don't think McCaffrey looked washed. I wouldn't say that at all. I mean, 22 carries for 69 yards. Yeah, it's not a great average, but you can't fight his involvement. And he's one of the few guys that could average 20 points this year and do it easily. And you know, for me this week, I have him as my number one running back on the week. He takes on the
Well, a lot of times, 22 carries for 69 yards doesn't mean he's washed. It just means that the offensive line was not fantastic a lot of times, right?
Yeah, it can absolutely mean that. And I think he still made plays. Like, I didn't put on the tape or watch the game and go, you know, he just lost it. So I don't think that that's the case at all.
Yeah.
Coach, we're looking for the tiebreaker on the full PPR rest of the season, Tillman or Fannin. It's not looking good. I mean, I see both sides.
Where's Tyler at? Tyler needs to get in here and give us the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
He needs to do 2 things: get in here and give us a tiebreaker, and then publicly apologize to Daniel Jones.
Maybe we can get a written statement from Tyler to throw up here on screen and apologize to Daniel Jones. Mr. Jones, we apologize. Speak of the devil, he has entered the studio, Coach. So we'll let him get in here. He'll get settled. We'll throw him up on the screen here. Coach, let's get this question here real quick before we get Tyler involved. Drake May or Tua point per carry as well? I think it's pretty comfortably May for me.
Yeah, May too. Yeah.
You know, Zach, trust your Patriots jersey there. You're going to be better with playing Drake May. I don't trust this Dolphins offense at all. So I would avoid that at all costs.
Yeah. Now, Tua does tend to turn it over in bunches, right? So I would expect him to play a little better this week. Yeah.
Well, before we get to Jake's question, let's welcome in the man of the hour. Let's welcome in Tyler. Tyler, we appreciate you for being here. Welcome in. I know you got the late start. I don't know if you heard what Coach was talking about, but how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. I didn't hear what he said. Was he trying to talk some crap on me?
Not quite, Coach. The floor is yours. Let us know what we're talking about.
Well, hang on. We have 2 things for you. First, you have to break a tie. Let
me pull it up. Rest of season for Rex. He needs some help here. Would you have Tillman or Harold Fannin Jr. rest of season full PPR?
I would go Tillman.
There you go.
I think Njoku's important enough in the offense. He'll take some of the Fannin targets before it's over with. So I would go with Tillman.
All right. Coach, the floor is yours before we get to Jake's question.
Well, I here's the thing. Tyler, and he joins with a Colts hat on, right? And I know enough to know this Colts hat was bought in Indianapolis this weekend, probably.
Yep.
Right?
It sure was.
Prepared? Are you prepared to publicly apologize to Daniel Jones right now?
Right now, no. If I get a few more weeks out of him, sure, I will. But no, lifelong Colts fan.
You're undefeated, man. You're undefeated.
Okay, but it's Daniel Jones. So we've seen it in New York before. He's looked great at times, and then he pumpkins, just like Sam Darnold has done, and we were fearful of years ago. And we were still fearful of this year. You know, we didn't know what he was going to look like going to Seattle. So if I will give him his flowers. I'll say let's get through week 5. If it's week 5 and he still looks the same, I'll give him his flowers.
Did he play better Sunday than Anthony Richardson's every start Anthony Richardson has ever had combined?
Yes. For NFL purposes, yes. I don't necessarily know fantasy wise.
Oh, right. I
Yes.
get you. I got you.
Hey,
Hey,
all right.
I'd be riding high right now if I was you. Like,
I mean, I can't say that I hate it, but we'll see how it goes.
Well,
I'll trade you Caleb Williams for Daniel Jones.
there you
You
go.
can have him. That's fine.
Enough Daniel Jones talk. Let's stop talking about Indiana Jones. Let's talk about Hollywood Brown versus the Eagles or Cedric Tillman at Baltimore, half PPR. Tyler, you're in the hot seat. Which side you going?
Oh man, I'm so scared of Hollywood, and I have a league where I'm going to have to play him this week, and I'm terrified. I would probably take Tillman against the Ravens. Honestly, I just feel like that Chiefs offense is going to flounder, or Kelsey will bounce back and have a decent week. I don't see Hollywood Brown sustaining 16 targets a week like he did last week, so I'd probably go Tillman.
Man, I confidently am going Hollywood here. Xavier Worthy's out. I mean, maybe we can see Tyquan Thornton, coach's man, ascend to this deep ball master. I don't know, but to me, Hollywood Brown is the play here. I mean, maybe Tillman does something, like he did this past week, but 16 targets, guys, 16, 10 catches, 99 yards. I'm going with Hollywood, coach.
Yeah, I had Hollywood in my waiver wire ads this past week on our Patreon. I'm going Hollywood here too. Like I like both of them, but yeah, I'm gonna go Hollywood here.
Okay, there you go. Standard league, coach. Josh Downs or Trey Benson.
Oh man, this is a hard one because I'm not the Downs guy. Like I'm just gonna say it. In my opinion, Michael Pittman Jr. is the best wide receiver that the Colts have. I think Michael Pittman Jr. has been held back by the fact they haven't had good quarterback play, and we saw the difference Sunday when they just had adequate quarterback play. What Michael Pittman can do offensively, like I think he's a good player that people are sleeping on right now. Benson has moved into a committee in Arizona. Gosh. I still think Downs is going to be on the field more and have more chances to score than Benson. I'm going to go Downs.
Tyler, you're in agreement. You're shaking your head.
Yeah, I agree with that breakdown. For me, standard leagues, obviously you're looking at yardage opportunities. Benson may have a little bit more opportunities in terms of like out of the backfield, getting, a floor of yards per week. But if you're going, on-field opportunity plus touchdown opportunity, I don't think you can ignore Downs as long as he's healthy.
It is worth noting, though, that Pittman had 8 targets and Downs had 3.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, it's comfortably Josh Downs. And I say that as being a known Trey Benson hater, but at the same time, 33% of the snaps. So James Conner is still the guy in that backfield. At the same time, 8 attempts for 69 yards. 52 of those came on one carry.
Mm-hmm.
52. Hold. Anything happens, it's a totally different day for Trey Benson. He had 1 target out of the backfield for 6 yards, and I understand I'm saying anything could happen on that one carry. But I just want to see more from Trey Benson before I say I'm going to put him in my lineup. You know what I mean? I think there's still something to be said for the fact of you need to prove it. You need to get it done. I still think James Conner is a serviceable back. I think he's going to be the guy going forward. But let's get to Nino's trade question here. It says, sorry for another trade question, but would you trade CMC and be left with only Pacheco, ETN, Harvey, Benson? No. No. The answer is no for me.
No.
If you trade CMC just to get this stack of Hurts and A.J. Brown, you're going to lose your league, in my opinion. I don't think you can rely on Harvey and Pacheco to carry your RB2 spot. Not unless your wide receivers are like Jamar Chase and, maybe a Lad McConkey or a JSN.
Yep, I'm in agreement there with Matt. And do not ever apologize for sending a trade question. That's what we love.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We want to disagree on them, so send some hard ones.
We're called the mediators for a reason.
Yeah. All right, Tyler, question for you from Zach. He specifically said, this is for Tyler. Tet McMillan or Keon Coleman?
I'm going Tet all day, every day. I was never a big Keon believer. I like Ted a lot coming out this past year. I think although the Panthers offense looked bad at least this past week, I don't think his role changes. I mean, he's still making amazing catches. And he went up against Travis Hunter again. So I think the offense in general may not look great, but I would rather take Tet and him be the target hog because now Adam Thielen's gone too. Coker's still not back. So it's really just him and Leggett right now. So I'll take the Tet side versus Coleman, who has to deal with Shakir, what looks like a resurgent Dalton Kincaid, and even, just dealing with Josh Allen vulturing those touchdowns too. So I'll stay away from that, and I'll go Tet.
Coach.
Yeah, I'm going Tet. Like right now, it's Tet and Hubbard is the entire offense in Carolina. I don't know where Pete's at right now, but Hubbard clearly got way over the usage we wagered on for week 1. Now there's a lot could happen. But Leggett had 7 targets and they had caught 3 balls for 10 yards. Gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going Tet. I do like Coleman though a little bit, but yeah, I'm gonna go Tet.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Tet. It would be fun to say Coleman, but I'm kind of with you, Tyler. I don't necessarily trust him yet. I haven't been the biggest Coleman believer. Now, he looked good. You have to say that he was involved. He looked good. At the same time, Tet had 9 targets. He is this passing game for the Carolina Panthers. Obviously, Hubbard's going to be fantastic in the run game, but I like Tet in this situation, full PPR. I think the Bills are going to maybe regress from that passing campaign. I think they're going to run the ball against the Jets. There's a good chance that this Jets game might be the fastest one they have all year because the Jets are good at running the ball. They might have 50 attempts between these two teams, Coach. Don't you think that's possible?
Yeah, it's highly possible. Yeah.
So,
well, and we don't expect the Jets to score as many points as the Ravens did, so they're probably not going to have to compete like that. So,
no, not at all. Which that game was an absolute treat to watch. But IC says got offered Nico for Judy. A bit tempted to take it with how that Texans offense looked week 1. Coach, would you panic here?
No, I mean Nico. I'd rather have Nico all day than Judy. Am I a little concerned? Way concerned about the Texan offense. Yeah, but Nico's way better than Judy.
I think so too.
100%.
Yeah,
there's a reason he was going in the back of the first.
Yeah, Nico's still way better than Judy. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm totally with you guys. Zach says Scattaboo or Ty Johnson for the RB2 this week, Tyler.
Scattaboo. If you're down this far, you're taking an upside shot at this point. I would take Scattaboo on the off chance he overtakes Tyrone Tracy in an offense that already doesn't look great. And plus, is Ty Johnson? Is he still on the Jets? Is he on the Bills? Who's he on?
He's on the Bills.
I don't even. Yeah. He's on the Bills. Okay. I mean, they also have Ray Davis too. So I would expect Ray Davis to get run ahead of him. So I would go with Scattaboo.
Coach, are you going with the fullback or Ty Johnson?
Well, Ty Johnson does get used out of the backfield, so I do understand that usage a little bit. They're going to throw him a couple balls. But the Giants, when the Giants got on the goal line, Scattaboo went in, and he got stuffed at the goal line by that commander front. But at the same time, that's told me that that's their plan, is to try to use him in short yardage around the goal line. So I would hope for a Scattaboo touchdown.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the same thing with you guys. Give me Scat, but I don't love it. But he does add rest of the season. Who would you rather have, Tootin or LaQuint Allen? And I'm going to give this to Coach because I know me and him are going to disagree, I think, here. I'm going with Tootin. I think that while Allen had more snap share and more opportunity, if I'm not mistaken, I think Tootin looked really dang good. I went back and watched all of his carries, and he looked really dang good, man. I think he's going to be a pretty solid player.
Yeah, I don't think we're necessarily going to disagree. Like, I think this is really tough. It is worth, mentioning that LaQuint Allen went in the game first, got a ball out of the backfield first. Like, I think he's more of a third down back type of guy than Tootin, where Tootin's more of a traditional running back, in my opinion. Travis Etienne's the guy. God, it's tough. I'm going to go Tootin and hope Etienne gets hurt.
Don't hope for that. You can't say that.
Well,
that's bad karma.
I mean,
that's bad karma.
You know what I mean.
Well, we want everyone to be healthy. So, All right,
We
Tyler,
do.
any thoughts on this?
We do.
I'm going Tootin. I mean, he looked good, as in terms of this past week. He was high throughout the draft process, had one of the best 40 times, I think the best 40 time. So I'm going to stick with Tootin here and just go based off of, the capital there. Let's see. I think we lost Matt a little bit here, but we'll skip down to the next. We'll skip down to the next question here. Don't forget, guys, if you're kind of crunched on time, stuff like that, you can throw a super chat in. You'll skip the line. We'll get straight to your comment. But since we don't have any of those quite yet, we're going to go to Conrad's question here. It says, who do you start, Coach? Daniels or Fields? And then for a flex, do you put Pearsall, McMillan, QJ, or Eckler? I mean, for me, I don't quarterback. Does that really? Are you worried about Daniels at all? I'm not personally.
No, you can't even debate this to me. It's Daniels all day.
Yeah.
Like he's a guy I'm starting and never touching again. Right?
Yeah. Unless it's some injury or something related, you're starting Daniels, I feel like. And then for the flex here, you've got Pearsall, Tet McMillan, QJ, or Eckler. I feel like Eckler's probably a step below all those guys for me personally. This conversation got a lot more interesting after week 1 with QJ obviously having 2 touchdowns. So, Coach, Matt's back 2 now. So, what do you see? Do you think you're going Pearsall without Kittle and really a hodgepodge at wide receiver outside of him, or are you going QJ or Tet there?
Like for me, it's Pearsall, McMillan, QJ, Eckler in that order. I do think with QJ, there's 2 things. One, I'm going to sell high if I can. But that being said, 2, if he's not on my team, then I'm going to see if I can claim him off waivers because there is the off chance that he's going to have a big impact, or at least enough impact to be flex worthy as the season moves on. Let's say that. So it's Pearsall, McMillan, QJ, Eckler.
I'm just going to roll with what you guys said. But we do have our first super chat, so we need to jump the line. We're going to get straight to that. And it is our winner from last week's episode. So we've seen her active in the Discord. We appreciate her coming back. Ferguson or Ingram? Got to get the kid to bed. Coach, these are 2 of your guys, so I'm going to make you answer first.
They are. The Broncos have who this week?
They
take on the Colts. And the Cowboys, as we've talked about, they take on the Giants.
There's only one right answer to this question.
This is hard. I'm gonna go Jake Ferguson. Longtime Jake Ferguson believer. I'm gonna go Jake Ferguson. He's gonna get an opportunity at a touchdown. Will he pull it in? I don't know. He will get an opportunity at a touchdown. Actually, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna call a Jake Ferguson touchdown. I was 1 for 1 last week with my prediction. I'm going to go Jake Ferguson this week.
He's practically perfect, folks. What could go wrong? Tyler, your turn. Ferguson or Ingram?
I'm going Ferguson. There's been the rumors about Ingram having the calf injury. I don't even want to deal with lower body injuries, especially in older veterans, tight ends that run routes, stuff like that. I think Ferguson has the better matchup. And really and truthfully, I don't want to mess with Ingram, out in the Broncos offense. They seem to spread the ball around, and they didn't look as good as I expected them to last week. So I will take Ferguson.
Yeah, I'm going to be the guy that goes different here. If Ingram plays, I'm going to play Ingram. I mean, it's worth noting again, like I said, Coach, when you were here, Tyler, you hadn't joined the show yet. Ingram had 4 targets and only played a third of the game. So if Ingram gets to stay on the field and he's healthy, I'm going to go with Ingram. I think he's going to be more involved. I think he has the higher floor and the higher upside. But if there is injury concern rolling into the weekend, then we're going to have to go with Ferguson. Coach, you mentioned it. He's going to score a touchdown, so that's tough to beat. He is 1 for 1, so account for that how you will. Again, we really appreciate your super chat 2 weeks in a row. I hope you can get the kid to bed. We will carry on. But Ingram's going to score a touchdown, Coach. But anyways, I don't know if you guys hit this question, and I want to just hear the answer if you did hit this question. Bucky or Genty? Did we talk about this?
Did not.
I did not.
Okay. All right. The answer for me is Bucky. I think the Genty story is aligning with a lot of what we talked about in this offseason. his draft cost RB6 pretty dang high, and he didn't necessarily perform. He did get in the end zone. That's great to see, but the carries didn't really amount to much. He looked a little bit rough in my opinion, and I think it's going to be tough sledding for him going forward. So I'm going to go with Bucky. I know I'm a Bucky believer. Tyler, what's your thoughts here on Bucky versus Genty?
I agree with Bucky. I mean, I think he's probably in the better, more explosive offense. We saw it at the end of the Falcons game, right? Like we saw that versus a Raiders team that kind of had to methodically go down the field against the Patriots. And really, I mean, Genty outside of that touchdown, he would have had a lackluster, week one. So give me Bucky. I'll take that shot there pretty much every day.
Yep.
Coach?
I'm with you. Clean sweep. Bucky it is.
Clean sweep. And it's worth, I want to mention it too, guys. Genty does take on the Chargers, and the Chargers were pretty stingy last week against KC. Now, they were one of the highest rush yard EPA teams, the worst, but a lot of that was in large part because Patrick Mahomes ran the ball. Against running back, they were like 15th or 16th, something like that. So I'm not worried about that rush defense that the Chargers have. I think they're going to be better. I think Genty is going to be a great player going forward. But to start off, I just don't think he's going to be the player that you drafted him to be.
Yeah, and you're talking about the Chargers. Offensive style matters when it comes to how great your defensive numbers are. And the Chargers were back there throwing the ball around way more than I anticipated. And when you do that, it's going to open up opportunities for the other team to have the ball a little more. So there is that.
Yep. Well, we are at the hour and 10-minute mark, so I'm going to speed through these next question, guys. We'll probably just go one for one unless someone has some quick thoughts. Then we got to get to coach's picks. Are those ready?
They're ready.
They're ready. All right, so we're gonna carry through. We'll speed through these guys. Coach, Darnell Mooney or Kayshon Boutte?
Boutte.
I agree. All right, Tyler.
Are we going one for one, or you just going to agree or disagree every time?
We can go one for one. We can agree or disagree. I'm going to agree with you, Kayshon Boutte for me. Mooney was injured. I don't think he's going to necessarily come back. And now I'm talking too much, Coach. You derailed us. Don't do that. Tyler, Hampton and Reed for Henderson or Pickens. Who wins the trade?
I would take Henderson and Pickens. Here, personally, I know Reed is obviously he had a good week one. Hampton didn't necessarily look the best in terms of production week one, but he had the role, so I'm not worried about that. But I think in the long term, I think Henderson's more explosive, and I also think Pickens is in a better offense with more consolidated targets. So I would take that side.
There you go. What should I do with Kenneth Walker? He is my RB2. My other RBs are RJ Harvey, Jordan Mason, and Dylan Sampson. What should you try and do? You should probably really think about this team and just hope and pray, my friend. You need some stability in this running back room. It's unfortunately not likely to happen. Dylan Sampson's going to have Judkins enter in the chat here soon. Jordan Mason is certainly a player that is going to be dependent on Aaron Jones' involvement, who did look okay. He did catch that touchdown in the game. Should I try and trade Kenneth Walker for someone? I would be certainly interested in that. And maybe the move would be to take a guy like Kenneth Walker and move him for, Walker and Sampson to a running back needy team, or maybe try and tier up that way if you can find a Sampson believer. But I think that Walker is someone I would be looking to shop, but I think you also have to hope and bet on the talent to get better. Yeah. Any quick thoughts from either one of you?
The only thing with that is it might be difficult to trade Kenneth Walker off of this week one. So
totally.
You're going to be kind of struggling. If you're trying to trade him now, don't sell too low based off of his value from week one.
Coach, were you going to say anything?
No, I was just agreeing with you.
He's agreeing with me. That's what we love to hear. Thoughts on Aaron Jones for the rest of the season, Coach?
Ooh, yeah, it's a little scary, right? It's a little scary when it comes to Aaron Jones. To get some usage out of the backfield, I think he's going to be he's your RB2 or flex play at best. Ideally, he's a flex play for you moving forward.
Yep. Ravens or Rams defense, pulling up Pete's defensive rankings here. So if you haven't already, go sure to check out his weekly rankings video. Fantastic information. Pete's on absolute fire. I'm going to go with the Rams. He has the Rams ranked higher, and in Pete we trust. And we carry on. Tyler, y'all have high hopes on Javonte Williams this season. Is there a true workload there for Javonte?
Man, I don't want to be back in already. I really don't. But I think his only competition really outside of himself is going to be Jaden Blue, and he was injured coming into week 1. So until Jaden Blue comes back and he's fully healthy, I think it is wheels up for Javante. We'll see how he continues to ride out the wave.
Yeah, I don't think we can deny the opportunity he has going forward. I think Javante is a guy that's got a workload. Conrad says, throw Hollywood Brown into this for one wide receiver spot in a flex. Did I miss a thing earlier? Oh, that was part of that other question. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's part of the other one.
Let's carry on here. Coach Carlos asks, I don't want to drop any flex options such as Bill, Ollie, Rice, Worthy, but Purdy likely won't play. Can I drop him?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we forget.
No, I was, but it's like, but Purdy likely won't play. Can I drop him? I mean, you can, depending on what else you have.
I mean, if you're talking about a situation where it comes down to, are you putting Worthy or Rice, or Worthy and Rice in your IR spot if you have two, or dropping one of them for Purdy, what do you do? I would drop Purdy, in my opinion. I mean, you're not really talking about a guy who's going to break fantasy. I mean, he's a fringe top 12 quarterback. If you have him in your top 10, I don't think he's higher than 9. In my opinion, he's outside of that. And I think there's plenty of guys that are on waivers. There's guys like Justin Herbert, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence is on waivers. Like, there's names out there that you could certainly do worse. So I would be fine with dropping Purdy if I have to.
I bet you Michael Penix is on waivers too. If you're looking for like a 1-to-1, that would be one that you could look to.
He's available in about 65% of leagues. So
yeah, there you go. Thank you, Coach. We appreciate that. That's our waiver expert. So be sure to tune into the Patreon and the Discord weekly for those drops. Tyler, don't miss, says, should I trade Tyreek for Justin Fields?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, if you're taking, I'm assuming if it's draft picks, it's probably either keeper or probably dynasty related, one of the two. You're probably going to have to add picks to it if you're trying to trade Tyreek for Justin Fields after this week 1. I'd shoot for straight up first just to see if the name gets you anything, honestly. And then you can figure out the compensation after that. But it's worth a shot.
Yeah, I mean, if you can afford it, by all means, do it. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Scott says hit the like and subscribe button. Scott is absolutely right. So you should do that if you haven't already. Coach equals Corso on picks this year. Oh God, that's going to turn into a T-shirt. So just wait. That's never going to end.
We're about the same age.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. You guys graduated high school together. I don't know if everyone knows that, but Alicia says, thanks, guys. Catch you in the Discord. We will see you in there, so be sure to be active and let us know if you have any questions. We will answer those. In says, Kittle is out. Ertz or Strange this week? Flex, Kamara, or Terry? Coach, you answer the tight end question, and then I'm going to throw the other question to Tyler.
I like Strange this week. I do really like Ertz, though, moving forward. Both of those guys are available on a lot of waivers. Ertz about 50% of leagues. Strange like 78% of leagues or something like that has Strange available on waivers. So that's something you need to take a look at there. So I go Strange then Ertz, and I like both of them.
Real quick before Tyler goes, it's worth noting if you're a guy that has Ingram who's injured, those are two names that you should look into. Tyler, flexing Alvin Kamara or Terry McLaurin?
Alvin Kamara. Easy. He's got the workload. The offense isn't great, but I know he's going to get his own touches, so I'll take it there.
All right. Aaron Jones or Emeka Egbuka to start? Man, Egbuka looked really good this past week. Aaron Jones is a little bit of a slow burn to start the week 1. I think PPR, I'm going to go with Egbuka. I think there's something there. I'm going to ride the flames. I'm going to see what happens. I don't have the matchups in front of me. I just turned. And who do the Bucks play?
I just had it up. Give me 1 second.
They play
the Texans.
Texans. Yeah, that doesn't scare me. I'm going to go with Egbuka. Either of you disagree?
Nope. I agree.
All right. I like it when you guys agree with me. That's rare. So let's see here. So Mac Jones, a potential starter Mac Jones is back. Does he make Pearsall something, Coach? 10-second answer.
Pearsall's already something.
I mean,
I knew
I'm
that
told
was
Mac
coming.
Jones made Brian Thomas. That's what I've been told.
I have
Apparently.
heard that. Maybe he's going to make a new receiver because Pearsall's already something.
Coach, do I start Mahomes or start Justin Fields?
That's tough.
Mahomes was awesome last week.
He sure was.
Mahomes.
Tyler, anything different? I'm just curious where you fall.
Much higher floor, too.
Yeah, that's probably going to be my thing. Taking on the Eagles this week. I mean, yes, it's tough, but you also have the Jets taking on the Bills. So I'll take Mahomes.
Are we disrespecting QB2 Justin Fields right now?
Yes.
I mean, that's something that I want to say Fields. 12 attempts, 48 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns. I don't think the 2 touchdowns are something you can predict, but the 12 for 48, that seems pretty reasonable in my opinion. I think I'm going to go with Mahomes. That's the safer play. Let's see it again from Fields. If Fields can do it again against Buffalo this week, then rolling into the schedule of Tampa Bay, Miami, Dallas, those are 3 great starts to play Fields. Carlos says thank you despite Coach not paying attention. So we appreciate you, Carlos. Thanks for being here. Tyler, Hunter or Tillman, full PPR? I'm assuming Travis Hunter, but if you want to think
that's what I'm
Henry,
what I'm assuming.
Maybe, but I think it's Travis Hunter. I'm going to go with Travis Hunter. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough to not go Travis Hunter here because they're playing the Bengals. Bengals defense didn't look great, but neither did the Browns offense last week. So Tillman had 8 targets. I think it was 5 catches for like 72 yards and a touchdown, something like that. So give me Travis Hunter, like I said, against the Bengals. That could be not maybe a shootout, but it could be higher scoring at least. So give me that matchup there.
Coach, this is a very important question that you need to answer for Sean. Pick 2 running backs: Kenneth Walker, R.J. Harvey, Ramondre Stevenson, Kenneth Gainwell, or Bashal Tootin.
Yeah, it's absolutely gross, and I'm gonna go Harvey and Kenneth Walker.
You have to.
Kenneth Walker, yeah. I mean, he's gonna get more opportunity than the other 3. So yeah.
Do you put any stock in the fact that Gainwell outsnapped Jalen Warren last week? Just curious.
Gainwell is going to get a lot of usage. He's the number 2 there. Caleb Johnson's going to be a non-factor for a little while, in my opinion. Yeah, I said it. But he still didn't. I mean, Kenneth Walker, I think, has a better chance of getting end zone overall. I don't love any of these starts, to be honest with you. But
yeah. Well, we've got 2 questions from KP. I'm going to answer the first one. Tyler, you're going to answer the second one. And Coach, you're going to pull up Coach's picks. So stay tuned for those. You'll give us an update and a recap of what happened last week. First one is who'd you start at running back? Pick 2 between J.K. Dobbins, Breece Hall, Javonte Williams, and Tyrone Tracy. I'm going to go with Breece Hall and Javonte Williams. I think those are the 2 best plays. Javonte's going to get the workload. Breece Hall is going to be a monster because I just think he's that good. Tyler, what's your thoughts on picking 2 at the wide receiver position? Or excuse me, I'm sorry. Who would you flex? You could pick one of the 2 you didn't pick, or Jaden Reed or Devontae Smith.
So we're just picking one flex here, I'm assuming. So one of the 2 running backs you had left, so Dobbins or Tracy, or Reed or Devontae Smith.
Yep.
Let's see. We said the Eagles play the Chiefs. Packers play Commanders. I would probably play Jaden Reed. That's a question mark. When I say that, though, it says at flex. I will caution you, if you play Jaden Reed, do not put him in your flex spot. If you're going to play him this week, he plays Thursday night. You need to put him in your wide receiver spot so that you have flexibility later on in the week if you need it.
Yeah, Tyler dropping some knowledge there. All right, bonus question, Tyler. Would you drop Najee Harris for Kareem Hunt?
No, I would not.
I
don't think it's worth it. I think the Chargers have a better run offense, so give me that.
Premium RB2 too as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
I actually think Najee's going to get a little more burn, to be honest with you.
I do too.
Yep. especially as the season goes on.
Only 18% of the snaps. I think that's going to uptick. But that is our last question. We are completely caught up. We appreciate everyone who's been in here, so be sure to like the stream. Check out the Discord if you haven't already. Coach, it's time for Coach's Picks. Give us a recap of what happened last week and give us what we're going to do this week.
All right. Last week we had six questions. We literally all three of us got 3 of the 6 correct. We had some tough ones there. I'm not going to go through each one, but I'm going to take us right into this week. So I got a few interesting ones for us this week. We're going to start off more total yards, passing and rushing, Jordan Love or Dak Prescott.
That's tough.
I'm going to go with Dak.
I'm
taking on the
Dak
Giants
as well.
Ooh.
I just don't think Jordan Love will have to do it.
Love had 192 total yards last week. Prescott had 188 yards total 191 yards total last week. But that could have easily been 270.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Love. I'm gonna make it interesting. I think it's really close. I'm just gonna be different for a minute.
Yeah, well, you were always different. Go ahead.
So this next one, this is rushing yards only. Okay. This has been a popular question for us throughout. So I kind of think I know the way you guys are going to go here, but it still seems like a question we need to ask. More rushing yards, Charbonnet or Kenneth Walker?
A brutal Kenneth Walker streak continues. I'm going to go with Kenneth Walker. I think that he's going to make everyone feel worse about everything. And we're going to roll into week 3 of what the heck do we do with the Seahawk backfield. Kenneth Walker gets 78 rushing yards this week. Sharps gets 42. There you go.
Okay. I'm going to go Sharp.
I'm going to go Sharp too. I'm going Sharp too.
Oh, okay. All right.
Like, you guys just wait. You just wait.
I mean, I think it would be great if you're right. That would give us a lot to talk about next week. Everybody, it would be a complete mess then.
Oh my God! Like, what do you do with the Seahawks?
Yeah,
JSN and quit.
Now we've got which defense gives up more points this week? Ready? The Tennessee Titans or the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Steelers play the Seahawks.
And the Titans,
they play the Rams.
The Rams.
Play the Rams.
I think that the Rams are going to score more.
Same. I think the Titans give up the most points.
Oh, I'm gonna say the Steelers do.
Okay. Coach is either going to do really good this week or really bad.
Yep.
Correct. We know this happened last week too. You guys seem to pick alike every time.
Hey, I'll flip-flop back and forth. Thank you very much.
Today. I was talking about last week. Yeah, I mean today you both picked back. You both picked Dak. Now you both picked the Titans. Okay. Most passing yards, Patrick Mahomes or Jalen Hurts. That's it. Obviously in the matchup again, they're both playing each other here.
Jalen Hurts coming off a rough week where he didn't necessarily
passing
produce.
yards.
I know.
I just wanted to make sure everybody heard that.
Tyler, I'll let you go first.
I'm going Jalen Hurts. I think AJ Brown bounces back this week. We always say it: the squeaky wheel gets the grease. I think Davante Smith still gets his targets. I think Dallas Goedert still gets his targets. Give me Jalen Hurts.
Coach, you want to go or you want me to go?
No, I'll go. I'm gonna take Mahomes.
I'm going to go with Mahomes too. I mean, last week, 258 passing yards. He threw the ball 39 times. The run game was non-existent. We could talk about how, yes, they were down. There's a chance they could be down again. But at the same time, I think Mahomes is just out here to prove he's dang good, man. He's good, and we're sleeping on him.
It's in Kansas City, too. They helped me a little bit, to be honest. I think it's really close. I just somewhat picked the home team, just to be honest with you. More total yards. This is a matchup right here between same game again. More total yards, rushing and receiving. Chase Brown, Travis Etienne.
Chase Brown.
Chase Brown.
Ooh. So Etienne can't repeat that performance again, we don't think.
Not that he can't, but just Brown is so involved, man. He's so involved.
This feels like a game that should be really high scoring, right? It should be.
Could be.
Should be. That's what I was saying earlier. I didn't want to go like, oh, this could be the highest scoring game of the week, but I think it should be higher scoring than most, believe.
Yeah, dang it.
As long as the
I'm
Bengals
afraid to be
don't start
I'm afraid to be the outlier again. I'm afraid to be the outlier again. We'll all go the same here.
I'm a Jags truther, but I'm not going that far.
Yeah, it seems like a lot for ETN to do it again, right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, they didn't involve Tank Bigsby last week, probably because they had the trade lined up. So, if they weren't going to involve Tank then, do they now start to kick in Tootin to his role or like they did last week? Or how does that snap share kind of break up? So, I think there's an increased workload for Tootin coming. And so I think that will obviously eat into ETN a little bit.
Coach, was that our last question or we got one more?
That was it. All
right. Well, we will see what happens. So be sure to tune in next week where we listen to Coach's picks. We figure out what happened and stay tuned for what happens to the winner and the loser. But we have a couple questions before we get out of here. We're at the hour and a half mark, so we appreciate everyone who's tuned in. Please like the stream. It helps us out a ton. And we've got one from Lucas, Coach. He said, I just traded away Walker for Dobbins. Was that smart?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think it's a coin flip there. I would rather have Dobbins. I mean, honestly.
Okay. Sean believes in K9, so don't give up faith. Maybe he's a fellow Spartan. In Spartans, we trust. Tyler.
Yes, sir.
We've got a question here. Start two between Travis Etienne, Pollard, Hampton, and Henderson.
Ooh.
That's like four guys that are back to back in my rankings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Pollard 18, Hampton 19, Henderson 20, ETN 21. Those are my rankings. So literally back to back. So I'll stick to my rankings. I'll say Pollard and Hampton.
I'm actually going to shake it up. I'm going to go ETN and Henderson, and let me tell you why. First off, Pollard plays the Rams. The Rams defense is better than I think anybody's giving them credit for other than Pete. I think their front line or probably front seven in general are pretty nasty. I think they'll probably limit Pollard a little bit. Hampton, while I did like Hampton, obviously last week and his workload, they play the Raiders. That may get out of hand real quickly. I expect Henderson to look good against the Dolphins because I watched Jonathan Taylor do it last week. And then if ETN is in this role, both receiving and rushing, which is what we care about for fantasy, and he's going against the Bengals, they're going to have to move the ball. And I think ETN will be a part of that. So I would probably take ETN and Henderson.
Coach, 10-second response. Are you ready to roll?
No, I'm good. ETN, Pollard, Henderson, Hampton. There's my order.
There you go. That's Coach's order. Well, as Scott says, thanks and appreciate y'all. We appreciate y'all too. Thank you for tuning in. You can catch us live every single Wednesday. We're here to answer your questions. If you haven't already, be sure to join the Discord. It is free. You can chat with us. You can talk to the rest of the crew at the Face Off. All sorts of things going on there. You can check out our Patreon, which has links to our weekly rankings, our Dynasty rankings, all sorts of things you could get into. We'll catch you in the next one.